Good morning. We are live with the king of Michigan football, Milton.
I don't know if I would say that, but I appreciate being called the king of anything.
And you're going. You're going to the game.
I'll take it.
You're going to
We are going to the game. We will be leaving Sunday evening, and it's going to be a little bit of a planes, trains, and automobiles. The flights in and out of Houston were a little crazy, so we're going in and out of Dallas.
Oh, then you got to.
But we will be there.
All right. So now that I was just reading on The Athletic that they said you need to use the tight end. Is it Max? What's it?
Bredesen?
Yes, that he's a stud and that he should be utilized in the game. That's what I was.
Well, so far this year, he's been more of a fullback than a tight end. He is not, as far as I know, he's not lined up so much at tight end as he is lined up as a fullback. And Michigan, over the years under Harbaugh, has had tight ends of all permutations. They've had tight ends that are really big wide receivers. They've had tight ends who are somewhat mobile fullbacks, and then everything in between.
Okay.
But I would say Max Bredesen is more of a fullbackian tight end than a wide receiverian tight end. I'm looking at the snap count from the game, and Max Bredesen had 10 snaps. So not a lot of snaps.
So this is what they said about him. They said he is treat him as a fullback, which, like you said, but he's a stud. This is Bruce Feldman on The Athletic. He's the difference maker in those packages, and they do some unique stuff with him and all the pre-snap movement they do. You know, he's a great weapon, explodes through contact, and is able to keep his feet moving and displace guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would say that's true. The challenge is then, what's the personnel that you have out there, because you've got two really productive tight ends who you've got to get snaps. You've got to have Blake Corum or Donovan Edwards out there. And then you've got, I would say, three wide receivers who at this point have been pretty impactful, Johnson, Wilson, and Tyler Morris. So you've got a lot of players vying for those five spots that aren't taken up by the quarterback and the offensive lineman. And occasionally they bring out a sixth offensive lineman.
Okay. So, yes.
So, the interesting thing is Michigan doesn't really have any spectacular players at the skill positions, and this has been kind of the thing throughout the Harbaugh regime. If you look at the number of players that Harbaugh has had drafted into the NFL, it's very high, but very few skill position players. But this year's team has sort of a lot of really good but not great skill position players, and they all contribute. So if you put Max Bredesen out there, who do you take off the field? But, I think that he can pave the way for Corum or Edwards, or I think he's caught a couple passes this year. But they also have Kalel Mullings, another running back
he had some good play. He had some big plays in the game. He got in a couple.
Did.
He did.
Yeah, he's a converted tight end or converted linebacker.
Speed is speed.
He was, he was a
linebacker. What?
Yeah, he was a linebacker, and then they moved him to running back in the middle of last year, and he's been pretty productive as a running back. Mullings.
See, Milton, I was a little concerned. Donovan Edwards, 4 carries, 11 yards. That doesn't work for me. I feel like he's a change of pace back. What do you think about that in the game?
I would say that it's hard to criticize a coaching staff when you have a team that's 14-0 and about to play in the championship game.
Okay.
But if there's one thing that I'm hearing from the fans who follow it closely like I do, is some frustration with how Donovan Edwards has been used. I mean, he looked so great in the back half of last year, and he looked great against Ohio State, and he looked great in the Big Ten championship game, and he was playing basically with one arm and with some leg injuries, and really he's not done much this year, and it's hard to know if it's the way the coaches are using him, if they're, maybe he just had a couple lucky games last year. Nobody really knows, because he was talking before the season like he was going to be off to the NFL after the season, and I don't know that he's really shown enough to get drafted, let alone in an early round.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know, but this is where I don't know enough to know if it's a Donovan Edwards problem or if it's a utilization problem. But again, it's hard to criticize coaches of a team that's 14-0, about to play in the championship game.
I got some criticism for you.
Okay.
What the hell is up with Orji? Why put him in? To me, he comes in, it's going to be a running play. And the trick and the gadget plays. There was the play before the missed field goal. So what's the point of putting Orji in the game? What did he help?
So one of the criticisms over the years with Harbaugh has been sometimes the play calling gets a little too cute.
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember when we had Jabril Peppers.
Yes,
and
they
called it the Pep Cat. And they would bring Jabril Peppers in as in the Wildcat formation. And all year long, all we talked about was that at some point they were going to do something different with that they weren't just going to run him. He was going to pass. He was going to pitch the ball out to the quarterback, and something else was going to happen off of that play. And it never did. Nothing else ever happened. And that's kind of the thing, I think, with Orji, is that every time he goes out there, you think, okay, this is going to be the time they do something different. And it just never happens. So there are some weird offensive play calling patterns that you've seen in the Harbaugh regime, that they sometimes get too cute. I thought we had maybe a few too many trick plays against Alabama. I mean, the one was almost a huge disaster. If McCarthy hadn't been able to jump up and catch the ball with one hand,
was that
Donovan Edwards?
Oh, yes. That was it. And then he made a hell of a pass on that play too.
Right, falling backwards.
Right, that's the play I was talking to Michigan about. That was the play I was telling her about.
Yeah, so there's a sense that sometimes it gets too cute.
Yes.
And also, though, on the other hand, sometimes it's too simple. But, yeah, I mean, the Jabril Peppers thing, we were all just sitting around waiting for something really exciting to happen, and it just never did. Like, you knew when Jabril Peppers came in the game in the Wildcat formation, he was going to run the ball.
Because the one play that stood out to me, they're driving. Blake Corum's going to do a flea flicker, but he gets hit, I think, by Dallas Turner, and then it turns into a lost play, and then they have to go for that field goal by that's a guy I want to talk about too. Are you concerned that if there's a big kick that needs to be made in the game, is James Turner going to be able to handle the pressure and make the big kick when he has to make it?
Well, so that, I've seen the replay of that one. I mean, obviously there was the missed extra point, which was clearly the snap.
Yes.
The snap on that field goal, the snap was high.
Yes, it was a bad snap. Yes.
It was a bad snap. I mean, I'm looking at his stats. He's 16 for 19 this year. He hasn't had a lot of opportunities because we're mostly scoring touchdowns.
Yes.
But he's 16 for 19. He's 3 of 4 from 50 plus, 3 of 5 from 40 to 49. So do I feel as good about him as I felt about Moody? No.
Yeah, well, Moody was all world.
Yeah, I mean, we called him, Money Moody.
Money Moody.
And but James Turner, I mean,